Hi everybody, thank you for joining me today. So I found this image on Pinterest and it really was the inspiration, even though I'm kind of veering from it as we go along. That panel that I just showed you was the project that we did on last Tuesday's Technique Tuesday video using the white pigment ink and color pencils. So we're going to use that on this week's retake, okay? So for this particular one, I'm going to put down some craft cardstock, 12 by 12. And I do want to mention that in the very beginning I was also showing you the 48 pad of the Christmas edition from Kaiser Craft. And we're using a paper from that collection, from that paper pad in today's video as well. So once I get this, I'm just going to lay down some of the art glitter glue in between where I put the score tape, and then we're going to get this laid down. And once I have it laid down, I do like to go along it with the Teflon bone folder. And now I'm just laying it down, and I'm going to go ahead and tear this one end, because what I want to do is on the side where they showed the, I guess you would call them baubles, hanging on the sketch, I'm going to do that but using the stamp and the color pencils. So this portion of the pattern paper I'm just going to also tape down using the score tape, and we're going to get this onto our cardstock. And once we take all the backing off, I'm going to hit it with the art glitter glue again. And hindsight being 2020, of course, once I get the glue on is when it hits me like, oh, I should ink the edges using the distress ink. So I'm going to go around as best as I can, trying to just, you know, tone down those edges. And then we're going to go ahead and get this attached. But the distress ink I used was tea dye, which is one of my favorites. And then I just hit the edge one more time. Now, in order to figure out where I wanted to put the bulbs, I'm using a T-square and my pencil, and I'm just trying to lay them out, trying to figure which way is going to be the best way for them to lay. You know, I wanted them to have some length. I didn't want them to be real short, next to each other, right next to each other. So we're just going to figure this out. And of course we're going to use the Hero Arts Unicorn ink. So I'm going to draw the line, and then we're going to go ahead and stamp our image. And then how I would do this one to work with what we did before is in between the areas where you see a lot of the craft, that's where we're going to put our color. And whenever you use the pigment ink, you got to make sure it's dry before you do the color pencils. I did the same thing with the smaller one. I just drew the line a little bit longer and then attached that bulb. And I'm just making sure these are drying so that way we can get to the next part. And I like to lay the picture, different things, elements on top, you know, as I go. Okay. So now that we have them, we're going to go ahead and start filling in. So on the thinner one here, we got all the red berries. So wherever the berries are, that's where I'm going to draw in the red. And then on all the ivy pieces, I'm just going to grab the darker green that came in the pencil collection that we got in the October kit, I believe it was. So we're just going to color this in. And actually, this particular technique, it was a little bit difficult for me this week, only because I'm trying to figure out the best ways, you know, to use some of these different techniques in the scrapbook layouts, or, you know, even on a card if I can't think of a layout. but for the life of me, I really did struggle because the look that I was hoping for, I didn't have it in the bulbs, but that's what I wanted to color. So these were the closest that I could find, and I want to say the set is from Stampin' Up, and I love the detail. So we went across the middle of the bigger one using the red, and then we're going to do 2 stripes of green, 2 red. We're going to go around the red images with the green, and then do 2 lines with the red and 2 with the green. So what's on the top is going to mimic on the bottom. And we're just filling that in. And right about here, I was thinking that what I would do is, for my string, use the gold, I have a gold Sanyo pen, and I thought it would go really well with the toppers, which is what we're getting ready to do right here. We're going to emboss those. I'm going to attempt to put the, use my Stamp-A-Jig to put it on because it's rubber, and I want to make sure that I line it up. But what happened is when I go to stamp, I somehow got off, or my stamp got off because I was trying to clean it up, and so I wound up having to do that off camera. But all I did was stamp it and then heat emboss it with gold, and I'm using the Ranger Superfine Gold. And then I trimmed down my picture. I made it so that it was 3 1/4 by, I want to say, it's like 6 1/4. So I just wanted to trim it up. And then I was looking for some chipboard elements that I thought would go good, you know. And I forgot that I had these dangles, I think they're called dangle, from Blue Fern. So we're going to use that, and we're going to heat emboss them in gold. And then for the title, I'm using the one word Inspire for my title. And we're just going to lay it out, figuring out, you know, how everything is going to look. And once I get them heat embossed, then I'm actually going to also layer some white snowflakes using the Unicorn White Pigment ink. And yeah, it's going to be fun. Oh, and we're also going to do some splatters in the end. But first, we got to heat emboss. I would have to say probably one of my most favorite techniques is to heat emboss on the chipboard pieces, whether it be chipboard or the wood veneer. I really like how that turns out. So I'm just going to take my time making sure to keep my fingers clear of certain areas. And we're just going to, like I said, cover that up with the gold embossing powder. And I think I mentioned it before, but we are using the Ranger Superfine Detail Gold next to the Nuvo one, because the Nuvo one is a little bit, it's more chunky. I really like this gold, the Superfine, because it, when you heat it up, depending on which area it is, it does create a nice smooth look. And when we do the title, I realized, you know what, I want to heat it up again. So once I'm done, I go ahead and put it through the Versamark again, and then we're going to heat it with the powder, which makes this one a little bit thicker with the embossing. So once I get that all closed, we're going to go ahead and heat this one up. And then heat the back end. And then there we go. Now, as far as the actual layout, we're going to go ahead and start attaching the toggles, or the, I forget what it's called. Lord, I just keep changing the name. Dangles. Lord Jesus. Yeah. It's Blue Fern Studios, and it's called Winter Page Dangles. They turned out super cute. They really did. And I'm just going to, I got everything glued down. Once I get the foam tape on the back of the photo, or my focal image, I'm going to go ahead and get that adhered down. And once again, I think I showed you on this one, but yeah, we're just using the art glitter glue to put everything down. And having the nozzle on it actually helps for all the small spaces to get the glue there, so that way, you know, it creates a nice strong hold. And then right about here, I decide, you know, I think I want to add a few more snowflakes, but I want these to be the wood veneers. So once I found the 3 that I wanted to use, then I'm going to heat them up. But this time, when I heat these ones up, it's going to be with the sticky powder. And then we're going to use some of the Blue Fern white gold glitter. So I'm going to move that to the side and go ahead and get these 3 inked up with the Versamark. And then we'll put them in the bottom of the coffee filter and add some of that glitter. Not the glitter. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm doing this late, so my brain is like, whoa. But we're using the sticky powder first. You have to use the sticky powder first, and then once you heat it up, making it therefore sticky, then you add on the glitter. And once I add on the glitter, I do put the heat tool to it again to try and get it to set it in. Alright, and I do, before I actually heat it in, I do try to press it in with my fingers, but you guys know glitter is, I don't even know how to explain it, but if you don't like it, I definitely would not do this method. I would do something else, like maybe use some colored inks and then put your Wink of Stella or your Spectrum Noir glitter pens over it or something like that, because you do not want to have glitter all over the place if you don't like it. Alright, so once we get the snowflakes attached, I'm just going to go around using a couple of different snowflakes. And they're hard to see on the pattern paper, but I'm just putting them down using the unicorn, the white ink. And then once I get all the different snowflakes down, I am going to grab one of the ornaments, and I'm going to stamp one at the bottom, and then another part of it up at the top. And then I'm going to grab my one of my stamp blocks with the Copic white, and we're going to do some splatter. I'm just going to cover up the photo. And I don't know why I don't do the splatter before. I just always wind up doing it at the end and just have to cover up my photo. But it doesn't bother me. If you want to do it before you even add the photo, you can do that. But for me, I liked it this way. And I just kept splattering, making sure I got all the areas. And then we're going to move the photo. Now, what's very interesting is when I actually went off, when I was done with the video, I did drop one of the stamps on top of it. And of course, it got a little bit of white ink on it, but I think I was able to clean it off most of the photo, okay? So just be careful. I'm telling you, the pigment ink gets everywhere. So thank you guys again for joining me today. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share button. And at the very end, I will have links to previous technique retake videos, the last 2 that we've done. This seems to be a series that's working really well, so we're going to keep going with this. And if you haven't subscribed, if you click on my photo here, you'll be able to subscribe and hit the bell, and you'll get alerts whenever I upload new videos. Thank you guys, and have a great day.